All right. Welcome to another great episode, y'all, of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. I am the host with the most. I got a super fun topic that I want to talk to you guys about today. Before we get into the topic, I would like to talk a little bit about a word from our sponsor. Unlock your true full potential with Live to Thrive life coaching. That's right. That is me. I am a life coach, life strategist that is empowering people to live better lives, become better in relationships, better in their careers, and a purpose driven life. Are you ready to transform your life one step at a time? Well, guess what? At Live to Thrive, I believe in the power of small, constant improvements, consistent improvements. And not only that, my unique framework, which is a proven framework, focuses on becoming your best self. I like to say, are you better than the day you were before? Thus becoming 1% better in mind, body, and soul every single day. Well, you're asking, well, what do I offer? I'll tell you what I offer. The mind. This is so critical, and this is part of my podcast today. I'm super excited to talk about it. Is I help you develop a growth mindset, enhance your mental clarity, and conquer challenges with confidence. Body. Guess what? I have been in the fitness sector for since I've been 18 years old, and I can distinctively remember lifting weights in this dungeon of a gym at the school that I was at when I was a freshman in college. It was like a dungeon. But here's what you get with my body portion. I give you 3 published ebooks and workouts sent to your phone or email. So embrace that healthy lifestyle, boost that energy level that you've always been wanting, and achieve those fitness goals. And you can do that today. Also, soul, biggest thing is your purpose. How many of you are struggling right now in today's day and age, not knowing where your soul is? Maybe you do know, or maybe you don't want to know. I don't know. But what I do is I help you unlock your purpose. What that does is I discover to help you align with your values and your morals to live a authentic, true, purposeful life. It'll also then cultivate inner peace, thus living a more fulfilling and balanced life. As a dedicated life coach with nearly 25 years of experience, I will guide you on a journey of personal excellence, helping you overcoming obstacles and reach new heights. And together, y'all, we'll create a customized plan tailored to your unique needs and aspirations. So, if you don't believe me, you can check out my testimonials. You can also go to my website. You can join today, but I'll be honest with you, I've only got 2 more spots left, so you can apply at www.livetothrive.com. Again, that website again is www.liv, the number 2, and then thrive.com. Join Live Thrive today and start living your best purposeful life. Here's my second word from my second sponsor. Unlock better sleep and better pain relief with CBD oil. Who needs it? Who wants it? I got you. And guess what? It's Amish tested. If you're struggling with what is sleepless nights, constant aches and pains, my premium CBD oil, well, I teamed up with Elite Nutrition. It is a CBD oil that is tested and trusted by the Amish community, and the solution for natural relief and restful nights. If you want information on that, I'm about to give it to you right now, because only either on my TikTok live or on my YouTube channel right now, or if you're listening to this when I drop it, you get a special offer, and it's only for Framing New Heights listeners. And that's my podcast for those of you catching on a TikTok. For a limited time, you can receive 50% off at checkout with promo code New Heights. If you go to that website, and I'll give you that in a second, you get 50% off, all cap locks, New Heights. Put that in as the promo code. Why choose CBD oil? I'll tell you why. This product is Amish tested, and so it's proven quality, better effectiveness. You get better sleep, you guys. Say goodbye to restless nights and hello to peaceful slumber. I've honestly realized the older that I've gotten, sleep's been really critical and important for our well-being. Pain relief, soothe aches and pains naturally and effectively. So don't miss out. Go to envitamins.com and use promo code New Heights at the checkout to claim your 50% discount. and make sure to tap in to take care of that painful, pain-free, well-rested life by taking advantage of that promo code. All right, let's jump in, you guys. I'm super excited. I'm actually double dipping today. I am on TikTok as well as my YouTube channel. And I'm super excited about this topic today because it's going to cover a lot. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is probably going to resonate with most of you. It's basically the title of today's podcast is to embrace the edge. How many of you get to the edge and you don't fulfill it? How many of you done New Year's resolutions and you haven't done anything? Well, today's topic, embrace the edge, conquer fear, and thus transform your life. You know, you can welcome more good into your life by expanding your ability to fully embrace joyful emotions. And I'm going to talk about that whole process today. How many of you have ever just sat in the office one day? So you're in at your office, wherever you're at, your job, and you're just pondering maybe about your job, a particular relationship, and all of a sudden, a few moments go by and you begin to worry. You feel anxious because you've created that thought pattern, right? So maybe you pick up the phone, you call that person that you were so worried about, only to find out that they're happy and they're safe and they're good. You know, here's the thing. What could have caused this moment? You basically went from a happy person to a concerned and depressed, maybe in minutes. It is the unintentionally generated unpleasant pictures in our life. I'll repeat that again for those of you that are catching me on live here. It is the unintentionally generated unpleasant pictures in our mind. Let me explain a little bit more on what this means. When you construct a terrible scenario, especially in your mind, it brings you down from the height of pleasure positivity. And let me go in on this. And we've all been there, right? We've all been there, high achievers. And if we truly look closely at our lives, you'll start to notice patterns in everything you do. And one of the most powerful patterns, and often the most limiting, y'all, is known as, I term this, well, I actually didn't term it, it's a psychology term, but it's also known as the upper limit problem. And it's the barrier between where you are now and where your true fullest potential will be. I often say this to many of my clients. I say to them, or even potential clients, I say to them, when your day comes and you're in front of your creator, do you want your highlight reel that you lived or the woulda, coulda, shoulda highlight reel? I would hope and I would pray that it would be the reel that you are living now, the highlight reel that you are living now. And one of the most powerful patterns and the most limiting is the barrier between, like I said, where you are now and where your true full potential is. And the subtle belief that I don't maybe deserve this. I maybe don't deserve happiness. I'm not that good enough. Because when you have that thought pattern of not quite deserving of happiness, you're going to experience that. And I'm going to dive in a lot on this. And for many, long-term peace and harmony seem fleeting. How many agree with that? If you are catching this right now on the live and you heard what I just said, give me a thumbs up. Hit something in the comment section. Because when that long-term peace and harmony seem fleeting, it often disrupts us by what I call self-sabotage or conflict. And then complete happiness might feel impossible, right? Because it's the absence of this deep fulfillment that holds us back. Now, Over 25 years as a life coach, I've seen this pattern repeatedly, y'all. And to break free, you got to start by asking yourself these simple questions. And for those of you that are taking notes or whatever it might be, jot it down because these are going to be absolutely vital for you to be successful. Number one, ask yourself, how can I prolong my moments of happiness? When you are in that moment of happiness, how can you prolong that moment of happiness? Okay, that's number one. The second question is, if I stop blocking the flow of positivity, if I stop blocking the flow of positive energy, right? Can I feel wonderful all the time? Let me say that again. If I stop blocking the flow of positive energy, can I feel wonderful all the time? You should know that answer. The next question, can I allow my life to be truly perfect? Many of my clients that come to me are perfectionism. They're perfectionism 101 perfectionists. We cannot, even professional athletes, which I have coached, we cannot be perfect in any context. So asking yourself, can I allow my life to be truly perfect? That should be an automatic no. And the next question, which is absolutely positively important, especially if you want to break free from what I just talked about and get closer to that edge, right? That edge is important. Is it possible to stay in harmony and deep connection? Is that possible? So these questions should serve as a compass, y'all, guiding you past what I termed, or psychology's termed, the upper limit problem and out of self-sabotage. The biggest thing that we often get is the self-sabotaging prophecy, right? We self-sabotage what we have accomplished. Now, if you ever noticed that a positive experience is usually followed by self-doubt or sadness? You ever notice that? And this is your call to explore what exactly is holding you back. Now, understanding and moving beyond these limits can be extremely life-changing. In fact, unlocking your best self and the joy that's awaiting on the other side is absolutely within arm's reach. Now, this term that psychology terms it's called the upper limit problem. Okay. So in this next segment, I really want to talk about how you can go from mediocrity, all right, mediocrity, to how to go limitless. And I'm going to explain. You need to begin to know, first of all, what triggers your limitations. Like, what are they? What's triggering your limitations? Now, the upper limit problem cannot be tackled like a typical challenge. And we all want those quick fixes, right? Everybody wants these quick fixes. And guess what? These quick fixes are not going to get you there. These coaches that are online that are promising you X, Y, and Z in a short period of time, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So instead, the key is to truly understand it first. This is why most high achievers work with an effective coach. This is exactly why they do that. And when you do, it becomes easier to move forward freely, because this is the key, you guys. And this is what I'm talking about. Without the weight of that invisible barrier holding you back, our lives fall into what I call our four primary zones of action and full potential. All right. And if you're taking notes, now is a great time to write these down, because this will help you reach your full potential. Sometimes I laugh at giving away this stuff for free. So, number one, the zone of incompetence. This is where many of us spend too much time struggling with tasks that don't come naturally. And when you're in this zone, You're caught in the frustration of doing things that you're not skilled at. How many of you are like, wow, Michael, you're speaking to me? Right? Right? Here's the next zone. Zone of competence. In this zone, you're capable, but it's easy to waste energy on tasks others could handle just as well. Spending time here often leaves you feeling busy and unfulfilled. And you also feel like you're spread thin and you have trouble focusing on all areas that truly shine. And the next zone, the zone of excellence, this is a comfortable place where you're skilled, you're valued, and likely rewarded by your work. Now, here's the thing you got to be aware about though. This comfort can also become a trap and can hold you back from discovering your true full potential and stepping into what I call the best version of yourself. The next zone is called the zone of genius. Here is where you're tapping into your unique talents and gifts and creating a life that feels authentically yours. Authentically. Like a lot of people that I bring on as clients, they feel like they've lived this life, but it hasn't been authentically theirs. And when you operate in the zone, you can experience a sense of peace. And that's the zone of genius. When you have that sense of peace, you have a sense of flow. That flow then impacts everything that you do, empowering you to seize the right opportunities with strength, confidence, and self-esteem. Now, if you find yourself resting in joy, or let me say that again. Let me say that again. If you find yourself resisting joy or success, believing you don't quite deserve it, you may be experiencing an upper limit problem. This is where that whole term that I talked about comes into play. This concept highlights our habit of capping our own potential due to self-imposed limitations. You with me so far, y'all? Are you with me? Recognizing and moving beyond these barriers can open immense doors, bigger and greater fulfillment, and thus understanding your true purpose. So ask yourself these simple key questions. Here's some more notes. Honestly, I give this away for free. People pay me a lot of money for this, you guys. Here we go. Ask yourself these questions. What are your triggers to your reactions of joyful events? Let me say that again. What are your triggers of your reactions to joyful events? What caused those joyful events? What was the trigger? To honestly learn more about the zones that I just talked about, you got to identify your limitations. What are your limitations? And many men struggle with this because they have this thing called ego. I teach men through my program as well to learn how to be vulnerable. Vulnerable men are accomplished men, successful men. Our egos get in our way. And to find out, you got to be willing to increase your daily time spent feeling happy. You should also be willing to extend your good fortune. Your happiness is mostly dependent on you, and beliefs may stifle that growth. Man, whoo, I can tell you how much that has stifled growth for me personally and from clients that I've talked with, is having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. This is what I teach in my programming. I want to transition now into my next topic here, my next segment. Patience and persistence are the keys to dismantling your upper limit problem. I'm going to break it down for you. Here you go. In this segment, I'll really dive into why truly overcoming the upper limit problem takes patience and dedication. I'm going to explore how deeply ingrained beliefs and self-imposed limits form the foundation of this barrier, often rooted in long-standing thought patterns and emotions. Just like any meaningful growth, Breaking down these limitations is a gradual journey. All right, here we go, friends. Here we go. These practical steps are key for identifying and addressing these foundational barriers. And these strategies will help you stay committed and help you through any type of setbacks. This particular segment will aim to empower you, the listeners, to view their progress with compassion, recognizing that lasting change takes time, worth, and of course, effort. Now, the upper limit problem makes you believe that every time you embrace a breakthrough, something negative is bound to follow. How many of you are like that? Man, I'm just thinking about the worst. Man, these things come in three, right? Right? Man, woo. What this does, the pattern slows down your positive momentum by cutting short your happiness and fueling it with self-doubt. Now, to address this problem, you first need to trigger the awareness of it. All right. Now, there are 4 hidden barriers that play a really integral part here, and each of which subtly contributes to the feelings of unworthiness and limitation that is, again, defined in that upper limit problem. Okay. Feeling fundamentally flawed. Do you feel that? This feeling stems, y'all, from a belief that something is inherently wrong with us individually, right? So whenever you achieve something great, you unconsciously sabotage it because you have this feeling of unworthy. You're unworthy of success. You're unworthy to be part of my program, whatever it might be, right? How many of you have that? And what that is, it's unconsciously sabotaging you. And thus you don't achieve your true full potential. And you have a feeling of unworthiness, and that leads to no success. Here are 2 options. Okay. You can either release this limiting belief and welcome a belief or a life of confidence and self-worth. And I often do this exercise with my clients, or you can just stay within your comfort zone and you're going to hold back your true full potential. So the question is what do you want to do? Now, the other one is disloyalty and abandonment. Now, this barrier makes you feel guilty for advancing. You know, how many of you felt guilty that you got a promotion? Well, John should have got it. He was here longer. And as though you're betraying those who may not be on the same path. And at this stage, it's common to attribute your struggles to feelings of separation from family or friends. You got to remember, this guilt is simply the upper limit problem manifesting itself. The next one is believing that success brings a greater burden. Can you believe what I just said? Yes, people believe this because often rooted in our childhood experiences. And how many times did you hear this? Money don't grow on trees when you were a kid. How many times do you hear that? Yet there's trillions of dollars that are being transactioned through banks every day. Why can't that be you? But going back to what I said, this barrier leads to a sense that you are somehow burdened on others and thus unworthy of success. And this belief may stem from situations where you were made to feel responsible for issues that never were your fault. The way out is to release yourself from the guilt of being a burden so you can embrace your true full potential. The next big roadblock is the crime of outshining. I'll say that again. It's the crime of outshining. If you fear that your success will overshadow others, you might avoid reaching your true full potential. This barrier causes you to downplay your accomplishments. You guys know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah. I was a gymnast state champion for 3 years in high school. Not me. I'm just speaking about someone else. But they diminish it. You need to shine brightly. Shining brightly is vital for building confidence. Because when you hold back from your true full potential, it keeps you from entering in that zone of genius. So it's okay to shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. How many remember that song singing as a kid? I was brought up in private schools, Lutheran schools, my whole life. That was a great song, and I remember that to this day. Each of one of those barriers that I just talked about works to limit your happiness and holding you back. Bottom line. And recognizing and dismantling them is essential to overcoming the upper limit problem and embracing your true fullest potential, y'all. So ask yourself, can you now identify with one or more of the following hidden obstacles? And once you know those issues, guess what? You're already there. You're halfway there. I want to jump into my next segment here. And this next segment is pretty monumental to overcoming any type of difficulties in your personal life. And I titled this segment 3 P's that can assist you in overcoming these difficulties. And here they are. The first P, punishment. The second P, protection. The third P, prevention. You guys with me so far? Good. So let me break down each one of these. And punishment is an upper limit problem that acts as a deterrent for bad behavior. When we feel fulfilled by doing anything wrong or filthy, your upper limit reminds you that you don't really deserve your pleasure. Does that make sense? So guess what happens? Migraine set in, sadness sets in, illness, and accidents are all prime examples of this piece. Criticism and blame are like addictive habits that can be destructive, especially in close relationships. They come at a very, very high cost and often being the biggest obstacle in genuine intimacy. And I know that from a life coach and a relationship coach. I see this often. Prevention and protection, they work together because they happen almost at the same time. The bottom line on prevention and protection is that when you become sick or you have an accident, you're subconsciously seeking to prevent yourself from having to do something you don't want to do or protect yourself from feeling something you don't want to feel. And your unconscious mind's method of doing you a favor can happen through a sickness or even an accident. So it's simpler to figure out why you're feeling terrible or unhappy after you've identified these 3 P's. Now, understanding punishment, prevention, and protection also aids you in avoiding certain situations that may bring them up in your life. Now, some tips to help you tackle the upper limit problem in your life is you have to begin with solid integrity. Have a solidified program, a solidified self-talk that knows how to have solid integrity. You also got to be able to develop a great attitude and commitment. How many of you have such a great attitude for your new you, new me, New Year's resolutions? And that's coming up again. How committed are you? You also have to be observant at all times. That is a critical piece, y'all. And then once you've done that, make a list of your upper limit problems. Okay? And once that happens, that's going to help you stay on track. It's measurable and you can visually see it. Now, the next piece is be positive and embrace everything with your confidence. As simple as that sounds, a lot of us don't know how to do that. In fact, there's a recent study that was done and conducted by a social network called Linkagol. They said that 31% of about a little under 1,100 adult respondents expressed fear of failing over other phobias. Think about that. That's just monumentally what I'm saying here is what we think is what we say is who we become. You're right. If you say you can't, you're right. You can't. If you say you can, you can. Which one are you going to be? And in my next segment here, as I transition, I title it Taking a Big Leap of Faith and Exploring What I Call Your Zone of Defense. And this, I think, is one of the most important steps between eliminating those limitations. You know, you've learned how to take little steps. Now it's time to take the big leap of faith, the big step, the one that you've been asking for. And it's in front of you. And this requires connecting you with your zone of genius, which I talked about earlier, because you're going to go out of the box and into a spiral. Your choices and dedication are absolutely critical at this stage. And this is the time to reflect on what brings you pleasure and fulfillment. So reflect on your choices and discover the things that really, truly make you happy. I can tell you personally, my daughter just had a birthday party, and as she gets older, I really enjoyed, it was just recently, it was yesterday, and she had friends over. They were laughing, they were giggling at a little dance party downstairs. That makes me happy. Getting to be able to move my body makes me happy. Being in a beautiful, not difficult relationship makes me happy. My health makes me happy. My creator, knowing that I have a creator, makes me happy. And whatever makes you happy, you need to identify that. And you need to incorporate that more into your life. Going to music, concerts, that makes me happy. And whatever you all do, I'm going to tell you this right now. Defend yourself against insecurities. Defend yourself against insecurities. Do not be frightened of failures that make you question your ability to push yourself. The more we fail, the more we succeed. And remember that your capacity to say no to any request enables you to choose between staying in your zone of excellence or staying in your zone of genius. Now, I want to talk about brilliance. To discover your brilliance, focus on your ultimate success mantra. What is that, y'all? Do you even know what that is? It's a belief you give yourself to get you out of the box and into an upward spiral. It's like a mantra you repeat to yourself to assist you to overcome what I talked about earlier, that upper limit problem. For example, in yoga, what do you repeat? You repeat the sound, right? Until your mind is clear and your soul becomes blank before returning it to your mental state of mind. Your ultimate success mantra does that. Keep it close at hand and include it into your regular mental and physical activity daily. And here's another big thing. Keep an eye on your dedication and your development. These assessments should be able to help you develop and help you overcome in the right way, the right direction. In my next segment, I want to talk about the power of time. And power of time truly shapes our lives, y'all. And one of the biggest pieces, I help my clients get more time back. I help them understand how to at least get 2 more hours back in their day. And you guys know this renowned scientist, Isaac Newton, right? He believed there are always 2 ways to experience time. It's either too little or it's too much. And this rigid view of time can be really limiting. How many of you are like, man, it was a great weekend, but it went so fast, right? and then the work week drags. Well, there's a reason for that. All right. Especially for anyone striving to live in their zone of genius. All right. We should all strive to want to live in that zone of genius. However, many of us still feel bound by this particular idea. And we're almost like trapped in time itself. Or how many times do you often hear, "Oh, I can't wait for the weekend"? Well, you're living a third of your life for the weekend. Life goes by too fast. And to truly master time, y'all, we need to really shift our mindset. We really got to shift that. We got to embrace what's known as the Einstein time. And in this perspective, you're not limited or controlled by time. Instead, you become the creator of it. And that's a beautiful thing. And by recognizing yourself as the source of time, you can manage it to support your growth and your goals effectively. Now, to understand that you can manage your time spent on a project, you got to understand both time and space, right? Well, in the Einstein time, you can do more in less time. While in the Newton time, you can accomplish less in more time. And the first step to creating adequate time for yourself is to ask yourself this simple question. What part of my life do I need to fulfilly own? What part of my life do I got to hold on to gain full access to? What part of my life do I need to fully own? And this question prepares you for the commitment you will need to make the area of your life where you'll be able to use the Einstein time, right? Say that super fast, quick. You cannot, you mess it up. You should also stop whining about time, right? Whether you have too little of it or too much of it, because once you conquer your upper limit problem and understand time, you can plan well on how to live a quality, more purposeful, good life. Well, my high achievers and my Framing New Heights listeners, I want to just say thank you so much for monumentally listening and downloading and sharing it with your friends. And season 3 is coming up right around the corner. And I'm excited to release that. That'll come up around November. And I always talk about gratitude. That'll start out the next podcast. However, I want to wrap up today, y'all. And I hope truly if you found this podcast important to you, reassuring, beneficial, please share it with 5 of your friends and like it, send a comment. I would love to hear it. As I wrap it up today, in truth, it's not easy to get through many phases of our life. I recently heard something about, I think it was Sylvester Stallone said that life gets harder as we age because it's more complex, right? And when many of us individuals can realize this, there is sad news about this because you can really feel imprisoned by the idea of living in an environment that is hostile. However, if you take a closer look, you'll see that many people are enjoying their lives and living them as if they were easy. Now I'm not saying when you go onto social media, that could all just be the highlight reel. But what I am saying is this: with those individuals that can do that, have discovered their upper limit problem. And they're following the established patterns to sustain the zone of genius, which I talked about. And when you know this key, the key is critical here because there is never a lack of access of information. There's so much out there. And when you can understand your upper limit problem by increasing your chances of finding genuine happiness, you're truly going to be more fulfilled. You're going to have purpose. You're going to have direction. You're going to be happy. So each time we create more space within ourselves to experience a greater love, abundance, and success, we transcend our upper limit problem. And it's only done one step at a time. So sometimes you'll need to, it's real. It's like this though. Sometimes you have to find yourself worried or getting in an argument. I hate the word worry, but listen to me here. And I avoid that by the plague. You can suddenly discover you've reached upper limiting status when you can know that, oh, I was worried. Oh, I got in an argument. If you can begin to be aware of those limitations and then take a few deep breaths, relax, and then let it go and get away from the train of overthinking, which is that unpleasant point of view, which why a lot of people come talk to me and I'm their coach, is you then initiate acts to make room for more love and peace. When worry's on your mind, when overthinking is on your mind, when constantly having to win is on your mind, you're taking away space for love and peace. And at this point, you break free of the upper limit, right? And for a split second, you're back in the flow of pleasant feelings. Like, how cool is that? And when you do this, you increase your ability to experience greater love, greater resources, greater wealth, greater success in the blink of an eye. And these are the launching pads of what I call a big leap, right? Taking that big leap, taking that big jump, hiring a coach. It may not happen on your first or 100th instant. However, if you work diligently, zealously, one magical day, you'll glance back or glance up and discover you have built a wonderful existence into that zone of genius that I talked about on the podcast today. I know all of you want the application piece. I'm going to give it to you, y'all. Make a deep evaluation of your life. Find your upper limit problems. Dissolve them by following the laid down patterns and constantly reevaluate your position to check your progress. That's critical. Okay. And when you can do that, you will find a more meaningful, a more elegant way to live purposefully. And truly, friends, I hope that this podcast resonated with you today. And with all of that comes effort, time, and each time we create more space, we allow ourselves to love ourselves more. And we then have the opportunity to take the next step, to take that leap of faith. Well, friends, I appreciate you listening. Please share it to 5 other of your friends. Until next time, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always stay flexed. All right. Anybody got